Hello everybody, it's Vervain. Welcome to the Citrine Palace. I said that I would do a video of me just pouring tea and talking a little bit about what I'm doing so that you guys can see what it looks like.
Hey, just a quick interlude here. As I was editing this video, I realized that the way that I reveal information is not necessarily maybe what you would expect in a typical informational video. I just pour tea and I talk a little bit about what I'm doing. I don't give you all the information right at the beginning. I try to give you a lot of information throughout the video. This is how I learned to pour tea. I learned to pour tea by going to tea sits and watching and asking questions and drinking tea. And I did not just go into a tea class before ever having gone to a tea sit. I wouldn't have known what I was there for. I think to a certain extent you have to just kind of experience the tea and start playing with it and get to know it before you need to know all the vocabulary and stuff. So I do try to go through a lot of the vocabulary and the teaware during this video, but it's kind of an as we go sort of thing. So if you're interested in learning more about Gong Fu Cha, I urge you to just watch, listen, pay attention. If you have tea, pour it with us, especially if you have a Wuyi Oolong, pour it with us, and enjoy.
I'm still not using a chop on today, which means that we're pouring gung pao, or dry, with no chop on, which we can do because we're using a Gaiwan and not a teapot. And Sean is here with me, but he doesn't want to be in the frame much at all. But I'm going to be pouring tea for him, and he might say a few things. So don't be too surprised if he does. First, we're just going to wake up the teaware, which means that we're pouring boiling water from our Gooseneck kettle into the teaware or recently boiled water, to warm it up and wake it up. And oh, we don't have a Shui Fang though.
Oh.
A Shui Fang is a water place. A Shui Fang is a water place or a bowl where you put your excess water, especially if you're not using a chop on, or your excess tea leaves whenever you switch teas. Thank you. This is my Shui Fang of choice. I got it for $5 from a witch on my local Shaman Swap Facebook group. And it has a butterfly on it, and I like it a whole lot. We put tea leaves in it, and then when we're done, we feed our tea leaves to the rose bush out front. Is there anything around that would like to be a tea pet? Isn't there? Where's my elephant? Oh, here's my elephant. Okay, this is a little jade elephant, and actually you can see he's already a little tea stained. I was using him as a tea pet a bit ago. Tea pet just means you pour extra tea on him, because as I think it's Shade says, it's just more fun to pour the extra tea on something rather than nothing. But also, they just like to drink tea with us, and sometimes they do little tricks for you. Today, Sean is going to be playing a little music, and we're going to be pouring Golden Water Turtle. This is a Wuyi Oolong from Yunnan Sourcing, and I get mine from Guan Yin Tea House here in Austin. Wuyi Oolongs tend to be earthier and roastier as oolongs go. An oolong is a type of tea that is between green tea and black tea, whereas green tea is not oxidized and black tea is fully oxidized. Oolongs are 20 to 80% oxidized, and that just means that they're, I don't know if you can see that at all, they're a little darker green than green tea, not quite so dark as black tea, as you might expect. And with Wuyis, I like to use a pretty hefty dosage for the container. We're going to go with about that much. So that Gaiwan, you can even see through it because it's that's cut porcelain. And yeah, it's about half full. It's hard to describe flavors of tea or smells of tea. So we're going to rinse the tea. I pour the rinse in kind of a zigzag just because that's what I like to do. Sohan likes to do it in more of a spiral. It doesn't... You find your own style. Usually it's customary to rinse a tea because, well, you don't really know what's on it. But we know pretty well what's on these teas. Usually you throw out the rinse because it's weak and because it's the wash. But, I like it. It's good enough for me. So we do a tradition called a Hui Wei Bei, which means returning flavor cup. And we'll keep this steeping for later and we'll drink it at the end. And meanwhile, we just get to look at it in this pretty cup. Look at that color. Oh, it's like honey or amber. That smells real good. It smells like roasted marshmallows. Smell it. What do you think?
Yeah. Roasty, but also caramelized.
Caramelized, yeah. Oh. Oh, so exciting. Okay, now I'm going to pour a steeping that we're going to actually drink. And Wuyis can handle... They'll stick out pretty good even if you don't really know what you're doing. They can handle a little pressure. They can handle a little rough and tumble. They don't need it at first. Later on, in steeping 4 or 5 and onward, they'll start to really need to be kind of beaten up. But early on, you can be pretty gentle on them and get something real good. A little bit for you. And a little bit for me. It is like caramel. There's almost like a lemony, not sour, but a little bit of that kind of essence of lemon top note, very faint. I feel it in the back of my head. When you're drinking good tea, you're drinking it for how it tastes, but you're also drinking it for how it makes you feel in your body and in your environment and oh, it's sweet and roasty. That's a damn good tea. So the teas will change. And they'll change from steeping to steeping throughout a pouring. And that's why it's interesting to drink the Hui Wei Bei last and to drink different smaller steepings rather than one large steeping. But they'll also change depending on who's pouring them or where they're being poured or when they're being poured. The pouring of a tea is a conversation between the tea plant matter and the tea plant spirit, I suppose, if you believe in that. And the tea pourer, the tea server. Look at that. Those tea leaves are awake. And the oils, so you smell the lid because whatever you're smelling on the lid is just what's evaporated up off of the leaves or off of the brewed tea liquid. And then that's, unless there's a leaf on there, which there's a little leaf on there. We don't usually use our fingers, but we're at home. This is the royal we, or the whatever. It smells earthy but sweet. Let's drink this. This one's a little more herbal. A little more like petrichor. A little more like rain, but still caramel. Perhaps a little woodsy, but like fresh, wet wood, not like smoked wood. But it is also a roasted tea, so it is a little smoky. It's good. I feel awake and like brightened in my shoulders. What do you think of the tea?
It's freaking delicious.
So what I'm pouring from, or what I'm steeping the tea leaves in, is the Gaiwan, which means lidded bowl. Gai, lid, and bowl, that's this part. And there is a saucer also. There's a couple different ways that you can pour. I tend to pour this way. It's not the most correct way, but it's the most comfortable way. Or sometimes I will pour this way, which is a more correct way. Technically, depending on who you listen to. Here, because it's just a little extra tea, and I don't think we technically need it, and there's a leaf in it, if you can see that, I'm going to give it to the teapot. Try and pour out that leaf. The reason that we do this in multiple steepings, in multiple short steepings with a small amount of water and a large amount of leaves in a small container in a short amount of time in a series, is to pull out the different flavor notes and different levels or layers of the chi of the tea in a series of acts or courses, like a multi-course meal or a multiple act play, rather than like a one act where you would just drink a mug of tea steeped for 3 minutes, that much water, that much leaves, you know, you've had it, we've all had it. But when you do that, when you bring all those flavors out all at once, they get kind of cobbled together and unfocused, and they lose, the individual flavor notes lose their dimension in the mess that is the combination, and the long steeping time brings out the bitterness. And this is just a different way of taking more time to experience the tea across more levels. It's a little bitter on that steeping. Might have steeped it a little too long. This looks like a greener one actually, so I'm going to be a little more gentle on this one. Or it looks like it's either greener or it's roasted slightly less. The benefit of having two vessels here, and we'll talk about this one in a second, is that I can control the steeping time and the pouring technique much better if I don't have to go straight from the primary vessel with the leaves into cups. And also, if I did pour from the Gaiwan into my cup and then from the Gaiwan into Sean's cup, Sean's tea would have steeped longer than my tea. And that is why they call this the Gung Dao Bei, or the most common translation that I see is the justice cup or the fairness pitcher. So the tea goes in here and it becomes a mix of all the same quality tea. All the tea in here is of the same quality. So now, whereas if I'd poured straight from here into the cups, we would have had tea of different qualities or of different saturations. Now we will have the same tea he might get a little more because he has a slightly bigger cup. But that's okay. When you drink the tea, you want to slurp. And this is for a couple of reasons. One, because the tea is hot, and if you slurp, you're kind of aerating it so that it cools down. The second reason is that when you slurp, that runs the tea across the soft palate on the top of your mouth. And it helps you much more fully experience the flavor of the tea as you imbibe it. It's quite sweet in the steeping. Not too sweet, but quite sweet. I don't know if there is such a thing as too sweet for a tea for me. I really like all sorts of different teas. Do you have tea? I don't have my glasses on. I can't see if you have tea.
Oh, I have some
think you
tea.
do. Okay. A good tea, by my standards, should go for at least 6 steepings without sacrificing quality. It may change. And I mean, maybe steeping 3 is better than steeping 6 or whatever, but by steeping 6, you shouldn't be thinking, oh, this is kind of weak. A good tea should be able to go at least 6 steepings. And I think most of the really good teas that I come across can go at least 10 steepings. And some of them can go many more than that. I took the West China Tea Daksha like 18 steepings over 2 days when I was in Seattle. I've seen some shomeis go on the night of my birthday, like 2 years ago. Sohan and Steve poured a 2011 shomei for like 30 steepings and at like 2 hours. It was a lot. It was very, very good the whole time. It just got sweeter and sweeter. We had to go much longer steepings, but we were still able to get some real nice... Oh, smell that. And if you want to look at this, you can see how it's really opening up. Remember, we only had that full to about here. And now you can see green leaves all the way up to the gold border. And they're opened quite a bit.
I think that's a good one.
This is a very caramel. It's almost like the tea version of a caramel stout. Yeah? Oh. A good tea, you'll run out of water in your kettle before you run out of good steepings of your tea, which I think we have one more Gaiwan in here. With Wuyis, I really like to shake out every last drop. But you don't have to, you can experiment. See what you think. It's also nice to check in across the steepings and smell your empty cup. Just like, smells like browned butter. I'm keeping the Gong Dao Bei on a towel, but I'm also kind of wiping it on the towel as I see drips because it's not good. You don't want tea that's been out here falling into the cup. You only want the good tea from inside the gong. It's a little nutty. Hazelnut. But not like hazelnut syrup. Like actual hazelnuts. Faint. Yeah, I feel it opening in my chest. Feels very golden.
I guess it's called that, golden water turtle.
Oh. I feel like I just stepped into one of those butterfly conservatories. You know what I'm talking about? Where it's like the glass greenhouse, but you go through like several layers of doors because they're trying to keep the butterflies in. And then you're just surrounded by tropical mist and butterflies. Honeysuckle, roses. Taste the Wuyi Mountain though. It's rocky underneath it all. They say that all the teas from Wuyi, and I find it to be true, have a rockier, earthier undertone. Okay, one more. And that's all the water. If you're gonna get into Gong Fu Cha, you gotta get one of these kettles. Best $30 anyone ever spent on tea stuff is a gooseneck kettle. And I mean that. I'd rather pour with a gooseneck kettle and a to-go cup than a not gooseneck kettle and a Gaiwan. Depending on what tea I'm pouring. It does depend on what tea I'm pouring. But so much about how the tea comes out depends on how you apply the water to the tea. And I mean, with different kinds of different elevation, pouring from higher, it's going to hit the tea harder. From lower, it's going to be much more gentle. At lighter angle, it'll pour much more gently. At a you know, if you tip the pot more, it'll pour much faster. And if you pour into the center of the tea versus just down the edge of the Gaiwan versus if you pour over the top of the lid, these are all get different effects, and you don't have that kind of control with any other kind of kettle. So I'm not saying that you can't do Gong Fu Cha without a gooseneck kettle, but I think it would be very difficult to do Gong Fu Cha well without a gooseneck kettle. Next piece of teaware that I super recommend is a side handle Gong Dao Bei. This one by Qingyuan Mingqi is really good. I don't know how hard these are to get. I already have one, so I haven't tried very hard to find another one. This technically isn't mine. This is Sean's, and I am just living with that. He lets me use it. I let him drink my tea sometimes, so it works out mostly. Oh, that was all of our hot water. So, unless we want to boil more hot water, which we could do more of this later, but do we want to just drink the Hui Wei Bei now? I think that's what we should do. Okay. Pour it into the gong because this gong, and I talked about this in my to-go cup Gong Fu Cha video about why this is such a good piece of teaware and how good it is and how much I love it. So if you want to hear me talk about that, go watch that video. The reason I love it is because I can reach Sean's cup, even though I can pour totally accurately into Sean's cup, even though it's far away and there's a kettle between me and it.
Does the tea set start at 2 or 3?
3, but we need to be there by 2:30 at the latest. And I don't have to adjust my grip at all to pour into my own cup here. Or to pour onto the teapot, or to pour into the, anywhere. It's very easy. I was like, go watch this other video about how much I love this piece of teaware. And now that's what this video is about. I like this one because it's clear, too. I like the glass because the color of tea, it's just one of my favorite things about it. The color of the tea liquid. It's just beautiful. Golden. golden water turtle. The Hui Wei Bei is smokier. That's where most of the roastiness went. But it's like when you toast your marshmallow and you get it just a little bit blackened. I always used to like them like that. Actually, I used to light them on fire until I got this burn on my hand, which you can't see because it's got a lipstick stain on it. But actually, I bet you can. There's some very pale spots hereabouts. Yeah, I burned myself with marshmallow. I was holding a stick that I thought was a pretty straight marshmallow stick, but it was like actually curved. And so I thought I was holding it away from me. I must have been like 12, but actually the marshmallow was directly over my hand and it fell down. And then, you know, classic 12-year-old, I stared at it for a second, like, what? Before I tried to do anything about it. So I got a 2nd-degree burn from a marshmallow. And I still have to live with the scars and the eternal embarrassment.
That's life. Even the humble marshmallow can threaten you.
But that's the moral of Ghostbusters, isn't it?
Is it? Is it really?
Did you get the Hui Wei Bei? I don't think you did. Okay, well, that is golden water turtle. That was one tea, and that's how we pour it. And technically, part of the Gong Fu is cleaning up after yourself, and that would mean doing dishes, but there's still a lot of life in these tea leaves, and I want to pour them later. I just want to go run errands real quick. So I'm going to leave it here instead of cleaning up after it. But thank you for watching, and I hope that you learned something. If you have any more questions, I hope that you're now better equipped with some of the vocabulary and frame of context that you would need to ask the questions that you might actually have. And as always, you walk really, really loudly.
Oh, I'm sorry.
What was I saying? As always, do be sure to let me know in the comments below what you thought, what you learned, what you'd like to know more about. And if you did enjoy this video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more content like this. You can find more tea content on my Instagram. You can also find more content from some of my wonderful tea community, which I will link down below. And I'll try and throw the link for this tea down below if I can find that. Have a great day. I'll see you all soon. Love you. Bye.